Today, I was actually 1 minute late. I'm normally on time, but apologies for that. Uh, Let me address the elephant in the room. I'm live today. It's supposed to be a bi-weekly live stream. It's supposed to be every other week, but Nick, I'm blaming it all on Nick. It's actually, it worked out fine for me because I'm swamped also, but Nick was swamped with his 24/7 eBay lives he has going on. He's going to Long Beach this weekend. I'm not going to Long Beach Collecticon. But yeah, I would have made the sacrifice. I would have just slept a little less. I would have sorted it out, but Nick didn't want to. So we're pushing PokeFlipz to next week, and I'm live for an hour this week. Bi-weekly can mean twice a week or every other week. It makes no sense, like a lot of the English language. So yeah, I'm just gonna be hanging out. I have a couple things to show, I guess. I have a couple things to show. I have a couple things to talk about, but not too much. So hit me with questions in the chat. It's been hectic. GeorgeBot says, most things are Nick's fault. My train was late today because of him. I would blame Nick for that as well. I wouldn't surprise me if he had his hand in the UK rail system. Zip for flips. Look, Nick's hanging out in chat here. He could have been live. Come on, man. I've seen him in Discord today. I've seen Nick in Discord, and I've seen Nick in YouTube live chat. So everyone direct your anger towards Nick, because he's just hanging out, apparently. How's it going, Alex? Shug Nasty, Old Man Ketchum, Max Power. Zard Looking wants to know about Oprah Flames long term. I'm assuming that means Obsidian Flames. I like any other set in Pokemon. I wish I could go back to years ago where sets would be in stock, not only in print, but in stock at the distributor for like a couple years. So the last few months of them being in stock, you'd get like a last call from your distributor. Last call for a lot of sets these past couple years has been initial allocations, has been also last call. So it's been more complicated, and it's been like right now, Scarlet and Violet and Paldea Evolved are kind of dead money. And they might be dead money for a couple years. Or they could be 150 in 6 months. Who knows? I would lean towards dead money for a couple years, but I would have guessed that for a lot of Sword and Shield, and it's panned out the way that it has, so who knows? But Obsidian Flames long term, I took my allocation. I'm slow selling a little bit through Evo. It's my last set I can sell through Evo. I'm pretty much just going to sit on it. I'm going to sit on it until boxes go up to some amount where I feel like I want to unlock that cash flow, and then I'll start trickling it out. See a lot of golden boys in the chat today. A lot of gold members. Nice to see you, Birch, L. Barton, George Bot. We got Skya. A lot of golden logos in here. Zard Lurking, Mr. Walrus, Brandon. So yeah, back to the whole bi-weekly thing. If Nick screws around with our PokeFlipz schedule again, I will be live any week we are not live with PokeFlipz. So I'm going to do in between PokeFlipz episodes. I think the way, I don't really believe Nick until I see it happen, but we're going to be live on the 31st. And then I think we're going to do the 14th before Collecticon. And then we're going to do a back-to-back PokeFlipz. So we're going to do the 14th before Charlotte. And then we're going to do the 21st after Charlotte. So we can get like both sides. We can really pile on the pre and post Collecticon content for Charlotte. And then we'll be back to our normal 2 weeks. So there'll actually be a span where PokeFlipz is live 14th and 21st. So I should theoretically be live the 7th and the 28th. So there'll be like a gap between. It's what has to happen. Sometimes you just got to sort things out. I've been pretty proud of both Nick and myself, our ability. I think we've pushed it a day here or there. This might be the first time we push it a full week, but I honestly can't remember. It might not be either. But yeah, we're still keeping on. What is it? 2.5 years later. Did I buy any more LO/ST booster boxes from the reprint? I did buy a small amount. I bought some at 120 through one distributor, and then the other distributor I paid like a little over 100, but I had to take Battle Academies, so neither was amazing. How's it going, Pokey Stone? How's it going, Ponga? We actually, I know we're gonna have Java. We need to reach out to Java. I don't know if we're gonna, if he wants to do the pre or the post, but maybe we'll do back-to-back guests. I forget what Nick had proposed. I think Nick proposed having Java on before and then doing just us after. But maybe, I don't know. We'll see. It is fun. Either way, I mean, PokeFlipz is always fun. But it's fun to have a guest to recap the events of the Collecticon weekend as well. But then it's also fun to just recap our own festivities during the events too. We're usually rooming together, and we're often hanging out the entire weekend. So we are completely across the convention center, though. I mean, he's over by he's chumming up with Chum Lee, half a convention center away. So I won't see Nick as much as I normally do. Nick still ain't packed yet. Can you blame him? I do blame him for not being packed. He should have just taken an hour and not slept last night and packed up and then been live. But man's got his priorities, and PokeFlipz has fallen down that priority list. He's got a new number one in his life, and she goes by eBay Live. Nice to see you, Nick. Thanks for making it live. Check out Nick's eBay. I'm gonna pull up Old Skool Pokemon on eBay. I think he's dropped a lot of dropped a lot of the low value singles. On Nick, you gotta work on your eBay search. When I search Old Skool Pokemon in Google, it comes up with his YouTube first. You gotta work on your SEO for your eBay, man. How's that fallen? Yeah, Nick only has 630 listings. And if I sort by price low to high, he does have some auctions. So let me go buy it now. If I go buy it now, he has some 99-cent singles still. I thought they were all gone. I guess they're not all gone. Nick has more than I expected. Sub $2, $3 singles. I thought they had left, but I guess not yet. Maybe not all of them. Nice to see you, Fresh Tats. GeorgeBot says, Dan, I'll kick off with a question. Have you ever bought a card on eBay listed cheaper than your multi-quantity listing so you can keep your low list position? I don't think so. I don't think so. It is funny, though. It is funny when people reach out to me and say, like, hey, why'd you undercut me by so much? I mean, often it's like a few bucks. Often I don't undercut by a ton. There are times where the last auction sale was 80 and the lowest buy it now is 150, and I might go like 100, 120 because I just want it gone. I think I've been better about doing that more recently, where I will undercut more if there's just a huge, vast space between last sold and low list. But I always just tell them to buy mine. Hey, if you want to be like, buy mine. I don't think I've ever done that. Maybe, I mean, across the several years, maybe I've done it a time or two, but I don't believe so. Let's see. Zard Lurking said, wasn't an actual question. Time for Golden Boys to spam. Nice to see you with all the emotes, Ponga. What's your replacement for the Celebration Zard? Why would I replace the Celebration Charizard? I just bought 40 more. I don't want to. I don't care about showing my PO box address, but I don't want to show the address of the people that sold to me. I mean, this is just the first batch coming in. I'm sure it will be weeks. It will be weeks of these. But yeah, fresh batch from the PO box. Yeah, I don't know why the Celebrations Charizard needs a replacement when it's still printy, when it's still making hundreds of dollars an hour. But that's one of the. There's not as many. Like I'm not buying as much as I could be. Had I had like less of a backlog and more time. Like, it's not a cash flow thing, it's a time thing. And yeah, hire employees, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna do it. Just a humble fisherman here. But yeah, I'm still like, as long as the numbers make sense, and they don't just make sense, they make dollars. They make dollars and dollars. I will be buying Celebration Charizards in 25 years if they're still making the margins they're making, because it's crazy right now. It's not as crazy as it was, but it's still crazy. Nick's telling me to go back to weekly lives because this is him breaking up with me, breaking up with PokeFlipz apparently. Nice to see you, Pokemon Wonder, Leaf Green Goblin, Dude Man, with the bearded Dans. Brad says, question, why are you having such a hard time selling the 1-of-1 Mothman? Well, you see, when you put an item to a 10-day auction, it is very difficult to sell a 10-day auction in 5 days. So, no, Brad's been trolling for the past, I don't know how long. I think the Mothman has a fan on YouTube. There's a MetaZoo / Pokemon channel that's been posting a lot of videos with this Mothman in the thumbnail. So there's people closely following what it does. It's a 1-of-1 Mothman, so I think it's for fairly obvious reasons. But yeah, the bidding's currently at 3,800, I believe, and it ends this Sunday night. So yeah, if you're interested in this, I guess I can show it on, forget about my other camera. If you're interested in this, it's currently up for auction. Only one in the world. PSA 9 Superfractor 1-of-1 Mothman. It is there. Why is my badge not changing? Been a member since the start. I don't know. It should be changing. Question, what's your next safari? So yeah, I spent the last 2 days at Water Safari. Crazy week because I did shipments Tuesday morning and then we went up to Old Forge for an overnight stay. We did 2 days in the water park. Like a quick, the way they do it, if you go to the water park after 3 p.m., you can actually use that same admission for like the next day. So you get like a day with a bonus few hours for the cost of 1 day. And that's what we did. We did the dry rides Tuesday mostly, and then Wednesday we were mostly in the water. I'm probably looking a little bit redder. I'm wearing a maroon shirt, so maybe you can't tell. But how thin I am up here, the sun gets me through this little coverage that I have. So my head feels a little bit warm right now. But it was a good time. It was a good time. Next safari, we'll probably do the drive-through safari again before it closes this year, I would think. So we'll probably do a what's it called? The Wild Zoo safari at some point again. Did I send any last minute shipments to Evo? I did. So early in August, I sent a bunch of raw fulfillments. And last week, actually, Troll and Toad closed down raw fulfillments early because a lot of people were just sending a bunch of stuff out. So I can still send this week. It has to be to them by August 31st. I don't think I'm sending any more, though. It's like I have more that a little bit more I was going to send as raw fulfillment. But I don't want to key it in myself. Keying it in is miserable. So what's out there is out there. Where you get those red, blue... Oh, Cynthia Lance art in the back. So these, I wish I could get an affiliate link for the Pokemon Center. But these are just canvas wall arts from the Pokemon Center. $39.99 a piece. I want to say they're pretty big. I don't remember what size they are. But I think they're still in stock. Let me... They're constantly slanted. I keep saying that I'm going to use that tack and straighten them out, but then I keep forgetting. So if you just search canvas on Pokemon Center, there should be like 8 of them. I bought all of them. I really like them. My kids each have one in their rooms. I have a couple like in obviously a couple behind me. Looks like they're all in stock still. There's actually, no, Cynthia and N are sold out. So Cynthia and N. Cynthia's here. N is in my son's room. My daughter has the Dawn and Piplup. And then I have like one of my storage areas. I have several more up there. But yeah, I'm a big fan. Then I recently developed an allergy to grass, so lawn mowing has become difficult. Can you recommend a specific allergy medication most efficient for lawn mowing allergies. There was a stretch in my life where I took Zyrtec. I don't really think it did much for me, so I stopped doing it. But I need to shower immediately after mowing my lawn every time because I actually it gets me congested. I'm slightly allergic to whatever it is that I kick up when I'm mowing. Question, what do you think would happen to the market if Pokemon didn't print any new sets for 1 year? I think their foot needs to ease off the gas a bit. I have no idea. It would probably... You could make an argument that it would help things because there would be less places for the money to go. So the money would go to, like, the stuff that was most recently printed. You could also make the argument that some amount of people not having new stuff, constantly, like, hype, FOMO, things to chase, they might just leave. Like, I think some people get really wrapped up in like, oh man, it's too much, I'm getting burned out. But I think that keeps a lot of people around too, that it's always fresh, always something new. So there's pros and cons to it. I have no idea though. Interesting thought experiment. Did OSP leave his name in the comments of PokeFlipz to have his eBay roasted? We originally roasted. I roasted Nick's, and then Nick roasted mine as the start to that whole thing. So a few months back, we actually did that. I ended 750-ish listings, left some of the high quantity ones. There you go. Water Safari was really fun. Dan needs to hire me to only buy and sell Charizards. Noiser PXE question, I've been churning, burning, inventory, auctioning, flipping, but on the contrary, what are the pros and cons of having 1,000+ item store or having such a goal? Thanks. I've been churning, burning, inventory, auctioning, flipping, but on the contrary, what are the pros and cons of having 1,000+ item store or having such a goal? Your goal based on solely... I think having a goal solely based on quantity of listings is kind of strange. I know Nick has mentioned it a few times. He wants to be like Burbank Sports Cards, whatever. I think having a certain income goal, having a certain sell-through goal, I think those are metrics that are more reasonable to... Because listings are weird. Like, I have some amount of listings that I have super deep quantity and, like, Metazoo set hollows. I'll have all of those in stock always, pretty much, because I open so much product. But as far as, like, onesie, twosie graded cards, like, you just want those gone. Like, you want high sell-through rate, high liquidity. You just want... So high listing quantity could either be that you have a lot of deep quantity of a lot of just consistent replenishable plays, or it could just be you have a lot of stagnant stuff, the likes of what I auctioned off a couple weeks ago. So yeah, having like solely an item listing quantity goal to me is just kind of strange. I think you want to control for the other metrics. Dan will literally take 99 cents for that Mothman since he auctioned it, right? Auction is forced liquidity, and sometimes when you force liquidity, the price is a lot lower than originally intended. I mean, it's no secret that there are videos out there tracking the history of this Mothman. So it was listed at $45,000 buy it now. It was listed at $16,000 buy it now. The individual who was making the videos actually made a $10,000 offer that was auto decline because the auto decline at the time was set when the buy it now was 16. I think the auto decline was I think it was a little over 10. I mean, I don't know if his offer was $99.99 or if it was 10 flat. I think the auto decline was set to low 10 because the consignor had told me a certain number. Obviously, I'm not going to share like the exact numbers the consignor was saying, but the consignor was on his own on Facebook trying to shop it privately as well. So yeah, I mean, the price history of this item is well documented, and we'll see what it goes for. But I'm the consignment house. I'm taking orders from the owner of the card. So let's see, can I bid on the graded guard? Graded guard comes for free with the Mothman. Why are you selling the 1 out of 1 now? You might have mentioned before, not sure. It's a consignment. It's not my card. Yeah, it's consignment. Of course, Dan optimized the water park admission thing. Absolutely. Not gaming the system. They set the rules, and I play by the rules like anything else, right? If you tell me that I can go in after 3 p.m. and then go in the next day as well. I mean, that's just like you're getting 25% more water park for the same amount of price. So how could you not? Dan, if you do consignments, YCOM-C2, maximize your spread. So Hermit Man 1, if you watch my video a few weeks ago, I did a video on scaling. And I talked a little bit about it. I talked a little bit about my different revenue streams, and I talked a little bit about, but ultimately, I consign lower value things that aren't worthy of my time, that pay me too low of an hourly rate. I consign them elsewhere. I send them to James, I send them to Probstein, whatever it may be. They charge their fees, they make their money. And then I focus my time where, and it's not just one thing. I'm not only trying to maximize income, I'm trying to like maintain sanity, and I'm trying to like have a good time doing it too. So that's part of why I mentioned in that video, I do YouTube, even though it doesn't pay me as well, because I enjoy it and the potential scalability of it, yada yada. But yeah, I sell cards for other people that are higher value, and I can make a good hourly rate on, and it allows me to see and have pretty cool stuff, in my opinion, pass through my hands. There's a lot of cards I've sold in the past several months. I mean, I've been doing consignments for about a year now. A lot of cards I've sold in the past year that allow me to get that sales, they allow me to get the sales numbers on my eBay to potentially work something out there. And they also just allow me to have like cool cards passing through my hands. But when you're making a percentage, my video just on Monday, no, I didn't cover it. I didn't cover it in my video on Monday. Did I? Maybe I did. Maybe I talked briefly about consignments and making a certain percent, just doing the math. If you're making X percent, like to sell a $1 card or to sell a $10,000 card, it takes the same amount of time to photograph and list and fulfill. So when you make, as a consigner, a percentage based off the value, clearly having higher average value sales, you make a better hourly rate. So yeah, that's why I do consignments. And then that is why I both sell consignments on behalf of other people, and then I utilize consignment services to sell certain things too. Some sitting cuties are $17 now, not happy about it. Supply and demand, supply and demand. I wonder if these are listed on eBay, selling for more money, the ones that are out of stock. Let me look up Cynthia Canvas. There's probably a lot of like non-Pokemon. Yeah, there's a lot of non... definitely seen some non-Pokemon... Huh, I don't see... I don't know. My eBay is searching weird right now. Will you try to attend Pokemon Worlds in Hawaii next year? Hawaii is tough. I feel like for the same reasons that I didn't do Japan, I feel like Hawaii, the only benefit that Hawaii gives me is that I do intend, I mean, my wife and I have a goal in our lifetimes to see every state together. So we could check off a state on like a part business, part pleasure trip. So it would allow me to do that. But the kids are too young, I think, to bring them. And to leave them for over a week to justify the cost and the length of duration of travel, it feels very unlikely. 10% chance or less, probably. Very, very unlikely. I would rather just go to an extra Collecticon. I would rather, yeah. My money and time is best spent elsewhere, I think. Worlds would be a blast, but so is every Collecticon. Like, even Charlotte is insane. We have 5 sections of people going. It's going to be amazing. Even if you go to a Collecticon, like Kansas City, I'm sure people had a blast. Kansas City, only a handful of people went that I know. But they all had a good time. So yeah, it's only one event of the dozens of events across the year, of which I try to pick like 3 to 4, 2 to 4, I guess, depending on the year. So yeah. I don't see them ever slowing down. I mean, they've been making 4+ sets a year, about 4 sets a year for 25+ years. So yeah, I just don't see it happening. I mean, they're up over 100 sets in English. They were making 4 sets a year in the lull period from 2004 to 2014. I don't think they're gonna, when they're doing 9.7 billion cards, I don't think they're gonna take the foot off the gas. I think they do need to be conscious of not overprinting it like crazy too much, because last boom in 1999, like last massive boom, the original boom, it was a hard crash from there. Boxes went down to $40 and they didn't sell, and I think they're hopefully going to navigate it better this time, and I think they have been navigating it better. But how much of that is just demand sustaining itself for longer than it did last time, social media, whatever, other different things. I sell Pokemon by day while taking care of 2 small children and work Doordash at night. How to keep hustling without getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep at night. I would honestly, like, I don't know how Doordash works exactly. Uber Eats, Instacart, all these different apps. I think that a lot of people way overestimate how much money they actually make. Just out of curiosity, I've actually listened to a couple like DoorDash driving YouTube channels, just to see. A lot of them don't take into account like wear and tear and depreciation on their car, and they just do like the gross profits they make without factoring much or enough, in my opinion. So first question I would ask you is like, which one do you like doing more? Which one are you actually making more money on? If you make more money on Pokemon and you like it more, quit doing DoorDash and just do more Pokemon, right? Like, it's an obvious, if it makes more money and brings more joy. If Pokemon makes less money but it brings more joy, that becomes like the more difficult optimization problem with no correct answer. But yeah, and then within each, I don't know what opportunities you have within DoorDash to increase your hourly rate. I think if you start rejecting a lot of orders, you stop getting as many, so you probably don't have a lot of choice there. Maybe you have more than I think, but in Pokemon you certainly have a lot of choice. Choose to go after the plays that pay better, and obviously you have to have some amount of like guesswork on the future value of things and how things will pan out. You're not going to always know how things will grade, but yeah, try to separate out the different modes of business you have in Pokemon and seek those that pay you better. You have a finite amount of time, so put most of your time towards the most lucrative components of that, right? Do you have you ever purchased already graded cards at a low price, like from an auction or a lot sale, to flip, or is it always raw cards for you? If you go back in my backlog of videos, I was buying $40,000 collections from Heritage. I was buying $13,000, $15,000, $25,000 collections from eBay of graded cards, and I was just flipping them for 10, 20, 30% profit. Largely speaking, I am just raw now. I consign graded and I buy raw, generally speaking. That said, if the right collection comes along at the right price, I'm going to buy it and flip it. But overall, like, why is someone going to take 60% on PSA cards when they can just consign them to me for 95% through the eBay vault? So given how busy I am in all other aspects, to be honest, especially the graded cards, graded card collections, I just offer less than I used to, and I don't get as many. A lot of them I don't even offer on. I just say like, yeah, I'll consign this if you want, but I really don't want to buy those. Do you buy any non-Pokemon company Pokemon products? I can't say that I don't have any like non-official products, but I don't like the idea of them. I can't think of any off the top of my. I might have a couple shirts that are not direct from Pokemon, that are like not official. But overall, it's like Pokemon has so much cool official stuff that I can bankrupt myself on official merchandise, so why buy non-official merchandise? PSA will take off the graded guard and keep it for off guarantee. I've had it happen twice. That's crazy. I did not know that, but thanks, James. That's I'll probably send it and then just see what happens. See if I get unlucky. I would think that this would fit in the same things. I don't have one around. I rarely have gotten them. But I would think this would still fit in the little box they send. That's crazy. Why would they take that off? Man, those thieves. They probably resell them too. Thoughts on current Pokemon market as of this week? Been pretty meh. Recently IMO burnt out. My sales are going pretty good. I know a lot of people say summer slowdown, all that stuff. I look on eBay. Like, I always say, why take anecdotal? Why take small sample size when you have access to Not the whole market, but a lot of the market. Like, I'm going to go on Terapeak right now. I'm going to search Pokemon. Let me see if I can get this shared, actually. So there's the Mothman. Here's Terapeak. So let me go back full screen until I get it pulled up, just so I don't end up showing something. I don't think I can show anything in here to dox myself, but toys and hobbies, collectible card games. So we're gonna search Pokemon and collectible card games. I made a short about this recently. Every month in the Patreon Zoom meetings, I go over this as well. So in the past, let's look at the past 30 days. So in the past 30 days, I've gotta pick my category again. Let me lock my filters. And it's so broad. Like, the Pokemon market is so broad. Let's look at Pokemon PSA. So let's look at Pokemon PSA here. Pokemon PSA, we're on Terapeak. Everyone has it in their research tab, Terapeak. You might need to have a store, but I don't remember. Pokemon PSA in the last 30 days in CCG individual cards. We have 5.935 million in sales. Let's compare that to the prior 30 days. So we're going July 25th to August 24th. Average sale price of 120 with 6 million sold, essentially. Let's instead of looking at that, let's look at June 20. Let's look at June 25th to July 24th. June 25th to July 24th. So we're comparing the same search terms across the same span of time. And then we're going to click research. So a month prior, the average sale price was pretty similar, and the sales were 7 million compared to 6 million. So on average, Pokemon PSA has dropped about 14%. About 1 million on 7 million sales have dropped in the past 30 days. So why speculate like, oh, how are your sales? There are some sellers, their sales are down 90%. Some people just don't have any inventory. Some people had a big month. They sold most of their inventory in July. And in August, their sales are, some people are up 10x, some people are down 90%. Let's look at all the data. It's so easy, it's so accessible. That's my thinking. That's so overall, at least Pokemon PSA. Some people, when you're talking about the market, you might be talking about sealed. You might be talking about whatever it may be. Just search the terms that you desire to search and then see what the whole market is saying. Don't go off your 90-day, don't go off your 30-day, don't go off what XYZ YouTuber's saying. Just look at all the data. I mean, eBay is not all of the data. It is not TCG Player. It's not Heritage, Golden, PWCC, but it's a lot of data. It's the most data we can easily get access to. So, top 3 things released in 2023 that are way too overvalued. Graded cards. I mean, most graded cards. PSA, CGC, BGS. This is not the PokeFlipz premiere. Dan, how many different shipping box sizes do you keep on hand? I've started selling off some of my loose ETBs, booster boxes, and it's getting a little cumbersome, needing so many box sizes for multi-box sales. That is not yet something I've optimized. I will, and maybe I'll make a video on it. That'll be more of a winter thing. As of right now, I was abusing those eBay quarterly coupons. I was buying things that I didn't need for the sake of having the money. I just needed to spend it. I used to have too big of a store with too big of a quarterly coupon that I no longer have anymore. I think I get 25 quarterly now instead of what I used to get, like 50 or whatever. So I have a lot of boxes I should have never bought. I should have just let those coupons expire. So once I get through my backlog of random stuff, and then once I give away some, or I probably won't sell them because the shipping is just crazy. But yeah, once I get through, if I had to guess, I'll probably say 3 or 4 padded mailer sizes, as well as maybe 3 or 4 box sizes. It all comes down to, though, how much of an item you ship. Like 95% of my sales are single graded cards, And for single graded cards, all I need are 00 and quad 0 padded envelopes. If those kind of work, but don't work amazingly well for something else, and I only ship one of those a year, you figure it out the one time a year you do it. If you sell ETBs and booster boxes and booster cases, and if you sell all that stuff 10 times a day each, you kind of need to have a designated optimized size just for that product. But if you sell 95% single boxes only, and 5% is just random whatever, buy a box size that fits one box, buy a box size that fits like a case, or 3, 4, 6 boxes, whatever quantities you sell them in. A lot of times if people go multi-quantity, and then the onesie twosie stuff that you rarely, if ever, sell, you can just kind of like, okay, yeah, like, could you optimize it by having a box that's half the size? If you're selling like a what do they call them? Pre-release kit? Say you sell 1,000 booster boxes a year and you sell 10 pre-release kit boxes a year. It's way too big of a box. It's more than twice as big, but it doesn't matter because you're only doing it a handful of times. Like, it's all relative, and it's all based on your storage space and based on your sell-through of each product. What my blend will look like, I'll need to find out maybe 6 months from now. Then how are you going to mark off every state on your list when you're too scared to go to California? I will go to Long Beach Collecticon at some point. I can't commit to it being next year, but I do. I mean, if they have a one-off Collecticon at a place and then never revisit it, obviously I can't go there. But say they get to a point where they have between 6 and 12 Collecticons a year and they're always at the same places, I do intend to visit every one different place, like at least once. How's potty training going? My son's been potty trained for quite a while now. My daughter is, she's back and forth. Same here. I live in Japan and didn't go to World because of young kids. Yeah, it's tough. Very, very tough. I just jumped to the bottom. The whatnot. I see people talking about whatnot right now. I just lost a comment. Oh, cons are going to be tough without them whatnotters. Pokestone says, I think the legit whatnot peeps were the ones who purchased a lot from our section in Orlando. Or am I wrong on that? I do not know the exact selling. Like, I know some people who do buyouts, they're not even on whatnot anymore. Maybe they'll get back on whatnot. But whatnot did have massive changes. I don't know. I mean, shout out to the old card shop. He made a video. He used to sell on whatnot. He left it because of the things that he was seeing. Go check out the old card shop's channel and video on his thoughts on the whole thing. Like, he might return to the platform now, and maybe some legitimate sellers that left will end up going back. That would be a great side effect of this all this gambling being banned. What exactly is banned? What exactly is not? I'm not 100% on. I did listen to Josh's video, but I didn't follow along too closely. I don't think I'll ever be selling on whatnot, but I think it's generally good for the hobby. Short term might be felt a little bit. That sting might be felt a little bit. Having a lower floor, maybe the floor will fall out on us on a lot of these bulkier slabs, I'll say. Take pictures on your phone and do listings while waiting for Doordash to give you more time during the day. Double dipping a little bit. Don't eBay list and drive. But yeah, again, I don't know how Doordash works. If there's a lot of downtime, which I imagine there's some, if you're Doordashing for somebody and you have to go and then the order's not ready yet, if you've got 5 minutes waiting for the order, 5 minutes, that sounds like 2 to 3 listings, depending on what you're listing and depending on how fast you are on mobile. So that is a very good suggestion. Problem with Pokemon versus Doordash, Uber is you kind of need money in Pokemon to make money. I mean, you need some amount of money. You need a car. You need, I don't know how many people are actually doing it, but like a special insurance policy, I believe, to drive for like one of those services. And I actually make a video. I just recorded a video before I went live. I recorded 2 videos before I went live. So my next 2 Monday videos are actually already recorded. One of them is pretty spicy. One of them I'm very interested to see the feedback. I think that will be a week from Monday. This Monday, I'm actually doing a follow-up on Monday's video. Monday's video went really well. Not surprising, how to make $100,000 a year in Pokemon. It's just math. Depending on what cards you're dealing with, you can make a pretty decent amount of money in Pokemon without having that much tied up. Basically, what I did for my video on Monday, what are the carrying costs of making X amount of money a year in Pokemon? So it's all based on your sell-through rate. It's based on turnaround times from the grading card companies. It's just math. You plug in the numbers, and then it spits out what it costs you. Your average card, it's just math, and some people would be surprised one way, some people would be surprised the other way. I don't know what people's presuppositions are, but yeah, I think I had numbers worked out to where I guess just watch the video Monday. Watch the video Monday to find out how much money it costs, how much liquidity, how much cash flow you need to make X amount of money in Pokemon. Sourcing cards while waiting for orders, that's another thing too. Grade Charizard 10s. Grade 10s, grade any 10s. They don't all make great money, but a lot of them make pretty good money. I'm convinced. Dan, help me write my 2-week notice to Pokemon full-time. I don't know if it's standard to put in your 2-week notice why you're leaving, but I didn't. I actually had a couple people who knew me well and people I was close with where I used to work. They knew what I was leaving for. They knew what I was going towards. But I had a lot of people, like my boss actually asked me where I was going, and I'm just like, not really interested in saying. I forget exactly what I put in my 2-week notice, but it was just I don't need to get too deeply into it. There were friction points towards the end. There were some meetings. There were some salary requests, and I think I left it very, very vague why I was leaving. It's just that I was leaving and the date I was leaving, and that was it. You don't really owe it to them to explain anything. So I'm assuming that's mostly a meme though. But why isn't the SAR Charizard replacing the Celebrations one for you? More moderner, more betterer. What's the 10 rate on it? I like high 10 rates. There are so many plays that I'm not making. Like, there are a ridiculous amount of plays out there right now. There are an insane amount of margins to be made. Like, if anyone is doing this full time and not making very, very high hourly rates, like, I don't know exactly what they're doing. Maybe they don't have the capital, but again, my video Monday will show you that there's a lot of opportunity that's pretty low capital. But yeah, I don't know. But I'm consciously, I know that I'm leaving a lot of money on the table, not hiring employees, not buying a ton more, not working 100 hours a week. Like, if I was at a different place in my life, if I was a bachelor, no wife, no kids, I would be working. I would probably still be a chemical engineer, trying to climb the ladder, doing that thing. I don't know. I probably still would have had to quit my job, but I would be working 80 to 100 hour weeks right now. It is insane in many ways that I'm not working 80 to 100 hour weeks. Like, I have all the capital I need. There are just plays I'm leaving because I don't have the time to make them. I should be working 100 hours a week with 10 employees. But Mexican Fisherman, I mean, the parable of the Mexican Fisherman, read it. I have to say the eBay authenticity guarantee packaging is pretty cool. I did buy 2 CGC graded that I felt were significantly undervalued, including from Z&G. James, with those paper hand auctions, a lot of deals to be had. I sold unbranded Pokemon Legos on eBay and they got pulled down, and eBay sent me a message saying this is a big no-no. LOL. If you put Lego in the title for non-Lego products, yeah, big no-no. Building blocks, whatever they are. Who makes there's a couple different manufacturers I think that make, I forget what they're called, but you can't use a trademark term Lego. It's like saying not PSA and a CGC graded thing. I don't think PSA, CGC, BGS, I don't think they strongly pursue eBay for those kinds of things, but yeah. Lego is one of those intellectual properties that what do they call it? Vero. You have to be a verified rights owner, or you have to have permission from the rights owner to sell those things on eBay. So watch out for Vero claims, because it's kind of like YouTube copyright strikes. I think a few of those and then you're just done. You're just done. Obsidian Flame cases for $5.90. Yeah, gotta love it. I've been doing Doordash for 4 years now. I do it Thursday through Sunday. I get higher paid orders and can make 200 plus in 5 hours. Hard to pass up with bills. I mean, that's great. If you're making 40 bucks an hour, is that accounting for depreciation on your vehicle? Is that accounting? I'm assuming that's accounting for gas. I'm assuming that's not like, but I know I've heard some people on YouTube, some people on like Reddit, they say that they work like if you're working a 5-hour shift and you're netting 200 into your account, that's not accounting for your gas. Like, and how much gas do you use for that? How much, depreciation, mileage on your vehicle. You have to care about the extra wear and tear on your vehicle. Every mile you drive for DoorDash is a mile in the life cycle of that car, right? Like, it's a mile off the brakes, it's a mile off the tires, it's a mile off the next oil change, all that stuff. In Pokemon, I can make more, but I have to spend a good amount of money to make money. Yeah, it's definitely... Pokemon ties up a fair bit of capital, especially when you start getting into grading, especially when you start dealing with 3-month turnaround times and you have to have the capital ready. I'm gonna make a more in-depth video on using leverage, using debt intelligently, and cash flowing, grading fees, and things of that nature. I have such a big backlog of ideas for videos, but that will be one coming down the pipeline. Like I said, my next two are already recorded. I recorded them. I'll be wearing the same shirt as I am today in both videos. Monday will be a follow-up on cash flow considerations for my video this Monday. And then the following Monday will be a spicier one that I've actually talked about it a couple times, but I'll let people see what that one is when it comes. People buying back-to-school supplies instead of Pokemon cards. Hey, I got the back-to-school Pokemon tin things. They got those pencil case tins and the erasers and stuff. Oh yeah, PSA slabs just came out. I completely forgot. That's when I said PSA, BGS, CGC are the 3 overvalued items of 2023. Do you handwrite all your TCG player envelopes / labels? I can't believe when I get in handwritten, I get like a loose leaf piece of paper, handwritten, like the 16-digit alphanumeric code for the TCG player order. I print everything out. I mean, I usually don't do packing slips anymore, but I print on a 4x6. I print my label for TCG player, just like I do on eBay, and then I just pack and ship it. I don't handwrite. I don't handwrite anything because it's of no use to anybody. They wouldn't be able to read it. Oh, wow. So in the UK, sales are down 30% approximately, based on GeorgeBot's numbers here. So we're down 14-ish% in the States, and then in the UK it's about 30%. That's pretty wild. I don't know if the pound has moved significantly. I don't know if that could have some effect on it. We got Brad G calling Cap. I don't know what I said, but with graded slabs, I only use small box with bubble wrap. Don't trust USPS with padded bubble mailers. I use a double bubble. I use a double bubble with a cardboard sheet. So it's not a box, but it's a cardboard sheet folded around the card, and then I go inside of this, which goes inside of this. 10,000 plus slabs, tens of thousands of slabs shipped that way. Three or 4 crack slabs maybe. Everyone has got to do what's right for them. I would question anybody who claims that it is more cost effective to use boxes. If you want to do it as part of your branding, a more premium feel, like whatever your reason is, that's fine. But I would say, I've heard some people say that it's more cost effective because of the amount of breakage. I would heavily push back on that and ask them for the data. They're not going to have any data. So yeah, that's do what you want to do, but do it knowing, do it intentionally. Do it intentionally based on sound data. I'm going to do, so many videos that I'm talking about upcoming. I'm gonna do a Catch 'em All Collectibles household spending, like non-Pokemon. It is Pokemon related because it's related to, like, any household spending is related to my business, because between mine and my wife's jobs, between our incomes, we have to pay for all of our household spending. We have to meet all of our savings goals, and I'm gonna talk about that whole thing, that whole wrapper, that whole financial picture, and I'll talk about cash flow considerations of the business and this and that, and spend money wherever and however you want to spend it, but intentional spending is a big thing for me, because I think a lot of people just don't have any idea of where their money's going, and this is personal and business. Now I'm talking personal and business. They have certain assumptions that they never actually do the math on, they never actually check. And it just leads them astray a lot of times. It leads them to very suboptimal spending and patterns, I guess. Thoughts on people who are mad they didn't get bought out, trying to hate on those who did. I don't know if this is with reference to Collecticon. I know, so it's just weird. It's weird when people have to have commentary on how other people, like I know I've gotten some pushback when we did like the Orlando Nick versus Dan section. Oh, Dan had all low margin packs. Dan had too much of this, too much of that. Dan had too many buyouts. It's like I've had conventions where 80% of my sales were buyouts, and I've had conventions where only 20% were buyouts, and it's like whatever. Like I don't care. If people are actually, like, I know a lot of people are just memeing. Some people might actually be upset or angry or envious or whatever it may be. Like whatever emotion, I don't know. I don't care. A lot of times it's just memeing though too. But if people are actually, that's just weird. It's like, I don't know. It's just weird how much people worry about what other people are doing. That's just humanity, though. That's humanity for you. As a seller, what do you do to ensure that buyers cannot scam you? I've heard eBay heavily sides with buyers and have read some situations on Reddit. I do not read situations on Reddit. I have a lot of experience rooted in reality, and not to just completely write off Reddit. I actually love the website. There's a lot of great subreddits out there. I would caution, though, reading any of those stories and perceiving them as any kind of reality. I've sold 60,000 items, I believe, on eBay. Very, very infrequently, if ever, have I been scammed as a seller. eBay seller protection exists. Add delivery confirmation, add tracking to all your orders. If it shows delivered, you're good to go. If they claim non-delivery when it shows delivered, you're good to go. 1%, less than 1% of the bad apples that will return the wrong card, that will do something of that nature. If you have a longer standing eBay account than them, if they have a history of doing that, eBay will side with you still. I can't give you exact, like, you're guaranteed this. Biggest advice I would ever give, and this is not just because I do consignment services, pick a number. Pick a number that you can stomach losing yourself. Whether that number's 250 or 500 or 5,000. And don't sell a single item that's worth more than you can afford to lose. And if you do, insure it. Whether you're insured through a third-party business insurance like I have, theoretically, I mean, if someone ever stole something from me and I filed a police report, I don't know if it would work like that, but mail fraud is a serious crime. I would file a police report. I would contact eBay. If eBay didn't stand by me and it was big enough money, I would probably go to my insurance company and try to claim it through there. And I think I would be able to. So yeah, there's a lot of insurance is a thing, and having a long-standing eBay account, and then if and when you ever run into a situation where you just can't physically, you can't lose this. Authenticity guarantee is great, because anything over 250, you send it to them, and then the buyer can't scam you, because the middleman, the guy in the middle is the one authenticating, verifying you sent the right thing. So, yeah, a little bit of commentary there, a little bit of my thoughts, but seller protection exists as well. Seller protection exists. Spicy and Dan's lingo probably means spreadsheet will be used. There are no spreadsheets in that video. I think don't need any special. Just valid DL and car insurance. I use an older car with high miles. I have to keep that family. I thought I was pretty sure that you need special insurance. I think when I recently was looking at like my insurance policy for my car, I think they ask you if you do any of those kinds of apps, and I believe they charge you a fair bit more. A lot of people probably don't do it the right way, and I've read stories, again, Reddit, I don't know if they're true or not. I've read stories of people having their cars totaled while Ubering, and then the insurance company did not pay out because they were on a personal policy when they were supposed to have a business policy. When you are doing Ubering, when you are Doordashing, when you're doing those things as a business, Geico, whoever it may be, they want to get a piece of the action. They want to charge you more money because you're using your car for business. So be careful is all I would say. Dan too embarrassed to tell his coworkers why he was leaving. Not remotely. I just, again, some friction on the way out with certain things with my employer, and they had no need to know. There was no benefit out of me telling them, and that they were asking, and it was one of those things where it's like I got to tell them, no, you don't need to know, so I'm not going to tell you. It was almost like a small little victory on the way out. Like, they wish they knew, but they don't know. Maybe they watch me now. Maybe they know now. I know a lot of them knew because I was closer with a lot of them. But anyways, when you calculate the cost associated with PokeFlipping, do you account for Discord and YouTube memberships? A lot more. All I will say is a lot more things are write-offs than people realize. That's why I say inventory beats collection. I'm only going to go for a few more minutes. It's already 4:28. I'm going to wrap up as soon as I can. But when you do things above board and legitimately, and you consult with professionals and you consult with an accountant, you will be surprised how many things you can write off. You will be surprised how many normal everyday expenses are required in some way, some percentage to do your business, and how many things become write-offs. Like I've seen people in Discord, I've seen people in YouTube live chats saying, about whether or not someone writes XYZ off. And it's like, that's such an obvious write-off. And they're writing, the way their tone is, the way that they're framing it, the way that they're saying it, they're almost kind of like, oh, he'd be committing tax fraud if he were to write that off. And it's like, man, a lot of people just have no clue. A lot of people have no clue about how taxes work and about what things you can actually write off legitimately, with the blessing from an accountant, with the blessing from the IRS. That's all I'll say on that. People who are not doing things above board and not doing things properly often are robbing themselves of so much. When would you consider someone is ready to go sell Pokemon full time? That is such a personal answer. I was ready when I had no debt. I was ready when I had several months, if not years, of expenses ready to be paid. I was ready when I had a spouse that was bringing in the health insurance and most of the day-to-day expenses. So that's so personal though. Like some people spend 20 grand a month. I mean, there are people that spend $20,000 a month to live their life, and there are people that spend $2,000 a month to live their life. There's no like one size fits all answer to that. Is the Yokohama Dex a good play? Everything, I mean, at the right price, almost anything can be a good play. It's all on cost, and yeah. We got a lot of bingos in the chat. I keep getting lost, sorry. Yeah, we got a lot of bingo cards getting checked off. Has anyone noted an increase in prices realized for CGC 10s compared to 9.5s from the past? I think almost universally, probably not on all of them, but yeah, almost universally, I would think. Pristine 10s on some cards, but not all. I delivered pizza for 7 years. Think I drove over 200,000 miles. It destroys your car, especially a Chrysler. Do you send a message/email to your customer informing them that you have received their packages like PWCC does? I mean, some people will ask me, they'll say, hey, I see it was delivered. Can you verify that all is well? I am fully insured. So once you get it delivered to me, even if you don't get, I mean, once you give me the tracking number associated with your shipment and you've given me the contents of the shipments, I had an insurance payout for a consignment that was not received. So once you get it sent to me, I'm working on something. I'm working on a way to streamline communication, but DM me on Discord, DM me on Instagram, whatever method we're communicating through, that's part of the issue. Like, it's spread amongst, I need that woof. Anyone who watched The Office, remember that. Who was it? Was it Ryan's idea? To just like send you a fax, send you an email, send you a text, Facebook DM, Instagram DM, all these message platforms all wrapped into one. I need the ability to just send a woof out to all my consigners so that they get pinged on every social media platform, every messaging platform that exists. Maybe send them a snail mail letter in the mail as well. But it's something that I'm working on. As of right now, check the tracking. Once it shows delivered, I have it. It's fully insured. All is good. Obviously, things never want to get lost. If and when they do, though, I mean, insurance can take time, but that will be there. But as of right now, like, people reach out, oh, yep, just got that. Here's a pic, like, boxing it up, sending it out to the vault, getting it listed on eBay. It's a lot of like manual communication. I need to automate some more of that. Uh, 6x4x1 box for life. Yeah, I have some of those boxes and I do them for like higher value things at times, but up to $750. I generally do this way. How much did you spend on your wedding? Don't really feel like saving for that. We spent about $6,000. We spent about $6,000 on our wedding and about $6,000 on the honeymoon. And with, I would love to do a personal finance channel at some point. And at some point I might, because I feel like there's so much commentary around things that people say and do. And people's relationship with money just fascinates me. So someday I might do a personal finance channel, but I'm completely open. Like there, I'm completely open, sharing and taking those questions. I don't think that will come up in my, maybe it'll come up in my, I might do like 10 years of household spending and the year that we had our wedding. I can reference that and I can show that. But the amount of money people spend on weddings, mind blowing. Money is like the #1 singular reason for divorce in the United States, at least. And then when you look at the average wedding cost, how far people put themselves behind, and then just that added stressor of paying off the financed wedding, mind-blowing to me. How are your allocations from 151 looking? Pretty decent. I don't remember how many booster bundles I had. I need to wrap up quick. I've never memed in my life. Everything I do is 100% serious. Dan, tell us about a funny subreddit we haven't heard about before. There's so many. I don't know. There's so many out there. I mean, I love RuneScape, so I think that's actually a really good subreddit. There's a lot of funny memes in there, but obviously you've got to play the game. Reddit is massive. Nothing's immediately jumping out to mind as far as like a funny one. %, you need a separate business insurance policy. If you have an accident on a personal policy whilst working for any of the apps, you're uninsured. Dan, I don't read Reddit stories. Also, Dan, I didn't say I don't read them. I said just don't take them as like gospel. Don't take them as gospel. I'm not talking just about the Pokemon subreddit or the eBay subreddit either. I'm talking all different kinds of subreddits. I mean, some of them are I only follow a handful of, I usually just look at like popular. I usually just look at the top subreddits, but like relationship advice is constantly up there. Some of the advice that people give, some of the, I mean, it's the internet. There are so many like clearly just made up stories that people put, like, I guess it's just people having fun, right? Coming up, concocting these crazy stories and then getting people to chime in. Some people in the comments know that it's made up. Some people's lives though are probably crazy enough that they feel made up, but they're not. You never really know though on the internet. That's just that's the nature of the internet. Relationship advice though, George Bot. That's a pretty funny subreddit if you follow that one. I don't follow it, but it pops up a lot. Dan, can you and Old Skool rate my Etsy? Put a link to it in one of our recent things, and we'll roll it in with the others. Kids are another one of those things that a lot of people have kids and spend way more money than is reasonable or rational, in my opinion, on it. Kids don't have to be as expensive as a lot of people make them. Just like weddings. Weddings do not have to be as expensive as a lot of people make them. And some of that will come up in my Catch 'em All Collectibles budget video. Not really budget, but like spending recap video. Can you write off diapers? I'm not a financial advice channel. I'm not a CPA. I think it would be very hard to make justification for writing off diapers. Yeah, people also think write-offs equal free. Shout out to the sugar mamas of the hobby. Always have to shout them out. Put your logo on the diapers for advertising write-off. Collectible accounting. I mean, an actual CPA, I believe. If you got back into the hobby during the boom instead of 2014, I feel it would be harder to make enough capital to quit regular job. I think it's very different now. A lot of the numbers are bigger on the buy side, but they're also bigger on the sell side. Liquidity is immeasurably larger. Obviously, I benefited a ton from having all the stuff I had going into 2020, having that backlog. Like, when people just point towards that, oh, it's harder than it used to be, so I'm not even going to try. I mean, I actually have, if I had a personal finance channel, I have a lot of commentary towards the general consensus that the American dream has died and this and that. Like, I could make a long rant video about that, because I think a lot of people just see that it's harder by some metrics, don't even like turn their brain on and try to think and try to like work out their own path towards what their goals are, and they just like give up. They just give up. Oh, I can never do this, so I'm never going to try. Well, yeah, that could be a lot of videos. And I'm not saying you're doing this, but there are some people that say, I can't get a distributor. I can't do it. Dan had it easy. I'm not even going to try. Dan, Rusty, all these guys had it easy. It's not even worth trying anymore. I guarantee you, if you do it the right way, you can absolutely start today and you can be killing it within a few years. Effort, your results will be proportional to the effort expended, and a lot of people just don't want to expend the effort. And you obviously have to have some experience, you have to have some knowledge too, because you can expend a lot of energy, expend a lot of effort on stupid things and just lose all your money. So Dan, can you go over an example how you would price a consignment? For example, Japanese Mega Tokyo Pikachu PSA 10. What would you list it at? How would you determine the price? I look at last sold and low list. I can't really pull up this card right now because I'm trying to wrap up as of 10 minutes ago. If last sold is 1,000 and low list is 2,000, I would be somewhere in between. If the price seemed like it was going up in the recent history, I would be closer to the 2,000. If the price seemed like it's going down, I would be closer to the 1,000 probably. But feel free to DM me. Feel free to email me if you have a consignment that you might potentially send and you want me to just quote you what I list it for. And I'm always up. Like, I'm always up for a little bit of adjustment here or there, as long as we're low list. Collab with Andre Jick and Graham Stephan. I actually met them in Vegas a couple years ago. I watched some of their content, but not much. How do you handle non-payment auctions on eBay? Give them the unpaid item strike and then relist as soon as possible. Me and my old lady got hitched at the pack and ship, cost like $75. There you go. See, I went, I mean, $6,000 is but I was looking up, it was actually on Reddit. It was on Reddit the other day. Average wedding cost by state. I think New York is $40,000. And I don't know what the median is. The average is always dragged high by the multi-million-dollar weddings of like celebrities and whatever. But I think the median wedding would still be, I mean, I've been to $80,000 weddings. I've been to $50,000 weddings from people that don't have $50,000 and their parents weren't paying for it and they probably just took out loans and this and that. And it's crazy to me. It's crazy. It's one day and you end up no more married. You actually probably, it would be interesting to see the stat if divorce rates go up to some amount with cost of wedding. They probably do to some extent. 20K on just the venue. Yeah, crazy. Never underestimate the stupidity of 50% of people. Yeah, think about the average intelligence of a person, and then, I mean, the median intelligence, technically, 50% are dumber than that, so it can be a little scary to think too deeply on it. Collectible counting is pumping the brakes on logo diapers, so be careful out there. I'm not doing logo diapers to try to get those to be a write-off. When's the next OSRX stream? Probably September or October. I don't know. We'll see. Couple months. I got married this year after subtracting help from parents. 20K spent on wedding and honeymoon together. See what I'm gonna end with this. What my parents did, they gave me X amount towards a wedding, regardless of what I spent. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. I would share it if I remembered it. I think it was, I don't remember, but it didn't pay for the whole wedding. Nowhere did it pay for the whole wedding. But I'm gonna do the same thing with my kids. Like whether it's $5,000 or 10, whatever it is, I'm gonna say, hey, you're gonna get this much. If you get married for $75 at the county clerk, you will get $5,000. If you get married for $100,000, you will get $5,000. I'm not gonna pay a percentage. I'm not gonna reward spending crazy. I'm gonna reward them making their own choice, and just this is the flat rate that I'm gonna pay you for a wedding. Maybe I'll give them $6,000 each, because that's what our wedding costs at the time they're getting married, maybe 20 years prior or whatever, 25 years prior. So yeah, that's gonna end it for today. I appreciate everyone hanging out. We got off the rails there at the end a little bit, as we always do, but that's what keeps it fun and interesting. Video on Monday. Look forward to it. I think it's going to be a good one. This past Monday was really good. Thanks everyone for the support, all the views on that one, all the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will catch you all later.